Thought for the day. What we think about is what we become.
Welcome to 7 Minutes for Yourself. I'm Christina, and I'm so glad you've joined me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. Let's take this time to reconnect with ourselves and improve our well-being.
In today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself, we are discussing how to shape our inner dialogue to develop a winner's attitude. Have a listen.
I want to talk to you today about one of the most important single aspects of success, of all kinds of success, and it's what you've heard of called a positive mental attitude. A positive mental attitude is a generally constructive response to the stresses that face the average person every single day. A positive attitude is where you feel that you have the ability to control your world and to control your life. A positive attitude is like a chicken and egg thing. If you're successful, you're positive. If you're positive, you're successful. Which comes first? It doesn't really matter, but we know this, is that positive thinkers are men and women who accomplish an awful lot more than people who have negative mental attitudes. In fact, we've come to the conclusion that positive thinking is really mental health and negative thinking is really mental illness. Now, if you look at the spectrum of people from the unhealthiest to the healthiest mentally, you'll find that at the very top, you have the happiest people with the highest self-esteem who are the most positive and outgoing. At the very bottom, you have the most negative and pessimistic people who often require drugs and hospitalization. Your job is to develop a positive mental attitude. Your job is to become thoroughly positive and constructive towards yourself and your possibilities and the world around you and the people in your life. And the way you do this is very much the same way you develop physical fitness. Now, if I were to say to you, if you go to a gym and you work out on a regular basis, an hour, hour and a half a day, and you do this every day for 30 days, and you match that with a proper diet, that you'll actually see a difference in yourself physically. Now, if I were to say that to you, you'd say, oh, of course, anybody knows that. If you worked out steadily for 30 days, you'd notice a difference. Well, it's the same thing with mental fitness. We know that you can't see the results of mental fitness the same way you can see physical fitness, but you can see the results of it. And mental fitness comes from following a specific exercise program. It comes from doing things in a certain way every single day. And it's much easier than going to a gym and sweating and working out. So what you need to do is you need to get onto a mental fitness program that enables you to become more and more strong, resilient, confident, positive, optimistic, and to develop a positive mental attitude. So I'm going to ask you to do this for me. I'm going to give you 7 steps, 7 things that you can do, 7 things that have been proven to work. What I'm going to ask you to do is that you practice these 7 steps for 21 days. The reason for this is it takes 21 days to develop a new habit pattern of any kind. If you work on a habit pattern and you practice it every day, you begin to develop new neural grooves in your brain that cause you to think and act more optimistically automatically. You get up in the morning feeling better. You are more positive toward the challenges you face during the day. You're more optimistic in the face of adversity. You start to become a more confident and optimistic person. And when you do, you'll find your whole life will open up around you like sunshine on a bright morning. Now, I've worked with psychologists for more than 25 years. I've studied psychology since I was a young person, and I've had teams of psychologists come to my courses. And what they've told me and what I'm going to tell you is that these are the most advanced techniques of behavioral modification that are taught in the very best universities today. But I'm going to teach them to you as very, very simple, powerful techniques that you can take and run with, use on yourself, and use with people around you. There's 7 basic steps to mental fitness. If you practice all of these steps together, what will happen to you is incredible. But here's the first rule, and this is the rule that runs through everything, and it is this. Remember that everything counts. This is the great rule of success. Everything helps or everything hurts. Everything counts. And your job is to remember that everything we talk about counts. It affects you one way or the other. And your job is to use every single one of these as often as you can. In 21 days, you won't even notice the difference. You'll be so astonished at yourself. Number 1 is positive self-talk. Positive self-talk has been getting very good press in the last little while. Positive self-talk means that you talk to yourself in a positive way. It means that you are optimistic in your conversation with yourself. What we have found is that 95% of your emotions, how you feel about yourself on a minute-to-minute basis, are determined by the way you talk to yourself. Now, the average person has about 1,500 words of dialogue running through their brain every minute. It runs at an incredible speed. It's almost impossible. It's called stream of consciousness. It's like a river of consciousness. Your job is to deliberately interfere with that stream and make sure that your thoughts are on what you want and are off of the things that you don't want. We know also that there is a thing in cognitive psychology called explanatory style. Explanatory style has to do with how you explain things to yourself. We know that successful people, positive people, are people who explain things to themselves in a positive way. They say, well, that's an interesting situation, or, oh, that'll work out okay, or don't worry about it. Everything's going to happen for a good reason, and so on. Positive people are those who constantly take what is happening, and whereas negative people interpret them differently, explain them differently, positive people turn them around and explain them well. W. Clement Stone, one of the richest men in the world, said that one of the keys to his success was to look at every adversity and immediately say, that's good, and then to find something in it that was good.
That concludes today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Today and every day with your kiddo is a gift. Enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.